What's up, fam? Saturday afternoon, July 26th, 2025. I thought that I would, again, I'm trying to do these streams at least once a week when I have time that opens up. So I've got some time here. I'd like to talk to you guys. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can just add this to the chat here. And we'll go from there. Last week I played some chess. And dude, chess pisses me off, man. Pisses me off so much. But I don't give up. I don't give up. For some reason, I do not. When I should. It really takes way too much brain power for me to even think about it. But I keep doing it. Because I'm a masochist. But we're not going to, I don't think we're going to play this week unless you guys really want me to. It's probably not the best content ever. Let me change this setting here. There we go. Lots going on in the crypto world right now. And probably what I should do is turn this gain up a little bit. And I need to share this out. Let's go to Twitter. Repost. Cool. So yeah, what's going on in the crypto world right now? There's a lot going on. And there's a lot of people out there who think the world is going to end in terms of the markets. And I am here to give you a message of encouragement, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what the hell's wrong with this damn thing. I'll try to make it family friendly. Try not to curse too much. Facing reality. Boom! Facing reality has been with us for a very long time. I think you were probably in my chat at the very beginning, dude. What, like 4 years ago? 5 years ago? An absolute legend, this guy. The thing I like about facing reality is that, you know, some people are convicted about things internally, but they never act on those convictions. This guy acts on those convictions. I really appreciate that about him. Cash Valley Real Estate Token. What's up, Brandon? Hope you're not working on a Saturday. You know, at some point in life, it's like there's no such thing as a weekend anymore. I'm sure a lot of you guys can kind of relate to that. So it's just like you got to grind. You just got to keep working towards what you got to work towards, even if it's a Saturday or Sunday. So always work. But I'm okay with that. I don't really have an issue. Some sort of balance is good, right? Cash Valley Real Estate Token. So maybe what I can do too, because I got a couple people in here that are showing some tokens. Maybe we can pop them up. Pop them up and talk about them, show them. So the Cash Valley, just full disclosure, Cash Valley Real Estate team has kind of reached out to build the tech and, maybe talking about some future plans. Nothing has been inked in whatsoever. But, I'd like to kind of return the favor here. Let's see, where do I go? I need to share this. Share screen. There we go. Well, that is a chart. That's a good looking chart here. Can you guys see this? I haven't added it. There we go. This is CVRE. And the CVRE token was launched anonymously by a real-world group of real estate professionals that focus on project development. The goal of this token is to grow the community and treasury available within the group to create a real-world market hedge using real estate with crypto during down cycles. As the community grows, voting mechanisms and transparency will be used to notify and solicit feedback from holders on how to use funds and when. As money is placed outside projects, rents and capital could potentially return to purchase the tokens based on the performance of the real estate. And, it's interesting. We've had, counting this team, we probably had 3 or 4 people reach out to us, 3 or 4 different potential clients, not clients yet. But there's a lot of people who are super interested in real world assets and kind of cracking that code and figuring out how to put it on the blockchain. The community and the ethos that I subscribe to doesn't typically think about real world assets as something that can be like decentralized and permissionless and those sorts of things, right? Censorship resistant, those sorts of things. So there's been like a really centralized idea about how to run these things in the blockchain. And some of my feedback to these people is like, you guys, you got to be careful, right? You got to really like check all the boxes legally, because, one of the big things about creating projects is we've got an administration in right now that's very friendly to cryptocurrency. However, we have to understand that the next administration, 4 years, 8 years down the line or longer, maybe they won't have such a good idea about crypto. So I tell folks with the RWA stuff, I'm like, guys, just check the boxes. Please trust me on this. And CVRE team has been receptive to that sort of feedback, and we want to work on something that'll last. So thank you for hopping in here. Didn't expect you to. And no, guys, he did not pay me to shill this. If you want me to look at a chart, I'll take a look at it. That's a good looking chart, though. Goo God the Degenerate. Good morning, legend. What's up, dude? Dude, Goo God stays grinding, man. He stays grinding. There's a handful of people that really put in like outsized effort. It's like 5 or 10% of the people I know total on Twitter make up probably 95% of all the content. He's certainly one of those. Sat Cat. Satoshi's cat. This is... Where's this? This is on Ethereum. Uniswap v3 is where that liquidity is parked. Makers, 53 makers versus 90 transactions. I think that's a pretty good ratio. A lot of times when these ratios are way off, you've got a lot of bot activity on there, which isn't necessarily a horrible thing, but it's also like, hey, let's take a look at that just to get the full picture of what this is all about. So what's the story here? Satoshi's cat is here to melt faces and wallets. Forget your grandpa's boring Bitcoin. We're building on the original Degen legend. Fluffy Cat was the true mastermind behind Satoshi. We're a community-driven meme coin built on good vibes and positive energy. Our tech stack is designed for one thing: moon missions. We're not selling you on fake utility. We're selling you on the most powerful thing in crypto, a narrative so good it just might be true. Join the Sat Cat army. No issues security wise. Good stuff. Let's check the. Is this launched about 4 days ago? Pretty substantial push up. Market cap is 131,000 right now. These all these memes right now, like, timing wise, it's really, really good time to get in. It's a really good time to get in. Because I am in the camp that things are going to be nuts. I really believe that. And I believe it based on data, not just because I foolishly and aimlessly agree with things. It's not what I do. Hey, Brandon, Morpheus still holding strong when most Titan X ecosystem tanked massively. Keep building and engaging. Cheers, buddy. Yeah, just to let you guys know, like, I try to be really smart in terms of like the legal aspect of things. It's probably not a good idea for me to chart Morpheus live on stream, because that could definitely be used against me in the future, as it has been used against many folks in the future. But check out Morph. I made a tweet this morning, and I really mean this. Like, I've been pretty overwhelmed lately because I've been seeing a really big uptick in people who are participating in the Morpheus community. And not only participate, like putting out good content and, spreading the message. In the tweet that I put out this morning, let's share it. Morph community is a 10. The vibe is a 10 out of 10. Rain, snow, or shine, keep it up, folks. Guys, this is the truth, man. You guys are out there killing it. Just want to let you know, man, like, it sounds cliche, and sometimes it sounds like it's an excuse. But the people that are going to make Morph successful are the people that are watching this stream right now. Like, you can make a conscious decision and a conscious effort to talk about this to as many people as you can. And the thing is, like, you might, in real life, maybe you talk to 10 people about it. Maybe nobody gets interested, but maybe the 11th person that you talk to gets really interested. They become a really important part of the community. So you just have to make the decision, like, what boat are you on right now? And if you're on that boat, become a fan. Talk about it. Fanatic. I mean, that's what it's all about. You guys have the power to spread the message and make this as big as you possibly want. And everybody has a role in this, right? Everybody does. And all the roles are important. All the roles. You have like a football team, right? Some of the best football coaches are the guys out there that are even holding the trainers accountable, holding the water boys accountable. It's like, you got to max out. You got to do as much as you possibly can to be able to find success. And it's a group effort. So even if your role, you might think it's menial, it's not menial. Just take that role and max it out. And there's an effort multiplier that goes into feeding that success. So guys, keep up the good work, man. I'm over the moon with this. We don't have a small community, we don't have a big community. We have a small community, but these are the people that you want to go to war with, right? Learned a long time ago. You got folks in your organization that don't want to be there, even if they're really good at their job. Some of you guys have been managers in the past. If they're good at their job, but they don't want to be there, ultimately it's a net negative. Might not seem like that. Well, Brandon, how can you say that, man? What if the dude's a genius? What if his work output? Fine, but if you're talking about the longevity and the culture and things that are going to move out into the future, you got to get rid of the people that don't want to be there. I want 10 people who want to be there instead of 90 that don't. And I'll roll with those 10 people. So yeah, I'm excited. Titanx ecosystem tanked massively. Yeah, the whole market has. I mean, if you're watching my content, chances are that you're in something that is down 99%. Not everything. I don't even know how far Morph is down right now. Let's take a look. Sometimes I like to kind of throw out like the initial day because that's when all the degens just come in and they're trying to scalp things. So the next highest candle, so let's just say from the highest candle, the first day, when everybody pumped at 10x, it's down about 87%. Now if we were to go to the next highest candle, it's down about 83%. But it did break a trend line that was extending all the way back to January 2025. It's pushed up above that. So that's good stuff. And ultimately, I mean, I can probably, I'll pull up some charts here, but everything's down, guys, from all-time high. It's completely normal in an altcoin market. But like, there's different avenues you can go to market your thing. And one of the avenues that I've learned over time that is going to carry things longest into the future is actual utility. And what I mean by that is, and this goes for anywhere in life, if you want to make money, you have to find the flow of money. And you have to get as close to that flow as possible. Does that make sense? Let me take this down. Why do college graduates, they're in economics and they don't learn shit about economics in school anymore? They can't name you 5 famous economists unless they're Keynesian. That's about it. But think about these people graduate college and what do some of these folks do? They're like, well, dude, I'm going to pack all my stuff up and I'm going to go to Wall Street. I don't know what's going to happen. It's kind of like a singer. A singer wants to make it big. They pack all their stuff up and they go to Nash Vegas, right? Or they go to LA. They want to be close to it. They want to be in the mix. They want to go where things are moving and happening. It's the same thing. Same thing with making money. Like, you have to get close to the money. You don't have a business, you make a business. Now you're close to the money. The money's coming to you. Okay. You're in college, you become an investment banker, you go where the investment bankers are. You go where the money flow is. And it's happening all around cryptocurrency. So how do you build something that's sustainable, that's close to the money? And if you can crack that code, there's a lot of different ways to crack that code, but it gives you the best shot, the best chance at success. Because ultimately, this is a community that is based off money flow. It's based off the spotlight. Who's got the spotlight? Who's doing things that are difficult and who's doing things that are significant? And please don't get me wrong here. I'm not putting anybody down. That's not the point here. It's just like you have so many opportunities to change your trajectory. If you're on like a path that you're unsure of, get closer to the money. It'll help you out. Promise. It'll work. Get close to that money flow. That's what I mean. Money flow. So that's the philosophy and the ethos kind of behind the things that I'm building. BuildTheTech.com. Switch.win. Morph. And it doesn't happen overnight. I think that's also a big thing. Everybody, founders think they're just going to get rich overnight. That's not the case. Launching your project is the starting line. And then that's when everything really begins. And it feels like you're launching at the starting line in your last place in a race of thousands of people. But what you have that other people don't have is you've got grit and grind and determination. And, you know, it's important not to give up. Thoughts on Morph on Pulse Chain Bridge? 50. I think there's about 50 billion. Now, if you guys, some of you guys don't remember this, I've been seeing some comments. At the beginning of Morph, I think we ended up getting, I don't remember exactly. It was like 1.7 trillion. Titan X, those people are minting Morph. But at the beginning, somebody pretty early on bridged over roughly 50 billion Morph across the Omni bridge to Pulse Chain. And there was a liquidity pool that was set up initially. And they pulled the liquidity, and the wrapped Morph has just been sitting on the Pulse Chain bridge. Now, interesting here. I think I was looking last night or maybe this morning, and it seems like somebody has gone in and started setting up some pairs that reflect the ethos. But then there's also some pairs, I think, set up very, very small liquidity, but set up with RH tickers as well. And there's some interesting theory behind that. Let's say you're a project owner and you're on one chain. You want to decrease sell pressure. Just intrinsically, like if you have a portion of your supply on another chain, it's going to be more difficult. There's going to be less sell pressure on the original chain, right? Because you've got it kind of air gapped in between. But if you have supply on different chains, there's ARB opportunities and there's marketing opportunities. So it's like, one of the scary things here is whoever controls that 50 billion, I don't know who controls that 50 billion, do not. Whoever controls that, if you do set up a liquidity pool on Pulse Chain, that person could wake that rat Morph back up and just sell it into that liquidity pool and nuke the liquidity pool on Pulse Chain. Everybody says, oh my gosh, that's horrible, blah, 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 blah. Okay, yes, it's frustrating to look at the chart, but the people who understand the opportunity say, wait a minute. Morph on Pulse Chain is 80% cheaper than Morph on Ethereum. Maybe I can send some money over. It's the same Morph. It's the same Morph, guys. Same contracts, just wrapped. You can use it on Ethereum or Pulse Chain, but I could go buy it super, super, super cheap on Pulse Chain and then push the price back up. So that's the mechanism that kind of balances the market, right? ARB opportunities. You can go through multiple pools to be able to get cheaper prices. So as liquidity thickens up on both sides, you see that volatility decrease, right? And what you're going to see is more of a 1-to-1 ratio. And if it's off that 1-to-1 ratio, there's an opportunity to get more. It's kind of cool. So always be careful. When you provide liquidity, guys, you got to be super careful. You just don't know what's going to happen. And I'm not trying to be like indirect and elusive here. I'm just being very straightforward with you. Be careful. I would encourage people to learn about providing liquidity, because one of the things that you can do, even if you're not for any project here. Okay, I am not talking about Morpheus right now, to be very clear. Any project out there, if you want to participate and you want to help grow and do things, why don't you do it with liquidity and get some fees off of it? You don't have to put a massive amount. You can put a little in there and start learning. Bust out a spreadsheet. Say I put X amount on this side, X amount on this side, come back in 2 weeks, see that maybe the total dollar value that you put in, but then also look at the quantity. If you're using Uniswap v2 or Uniswap v3, look at the quantity that you have now as compared to 2 weeks ago, and you start to learn. And you can teach other people. So a big part of this is education. I know a lot of you folks are kind of new when it comes to that stuff. After this, well, hell, we'll just do it right now. I'm not going to say after this. I've made Uniswap v2 tutorials, but I think, v3 is really where everybody's at right now. I tend to like v2 better. And that's because it's harder to game the system with v2, because you have to come up with equal dollar value on both sides of the pool. But let's do this. I'm going to put out a tutorial playlist that you can go through and start learning about it. And I didn't make it. It's my good friend Sloth, Crypto Sloth. V3 tutorial, Crypto Sloth. You got to understand what's happening. And I've really thought about making a video on this. I think I can make it so it's very simple to understand. But this playlist will, I'll just give you the first video. I think he's got links to the other ones. No, Sloth. Is this in a playlist or is it just individual videos? Oh, it is. Perfect. Perfect. Learn this stuff, guys. Like, make yourself more knowledgeable. How many times a day do you hear about V3 liquidity, single-sided liquidity, like bridges? How do bridges work? You guys know how that works. Like, write down these terms and go and learn. And if you're not getting anywhere, just reach out to me or reach out to somebody who might know. Because part of this process, like, I know you guys just want to be, some people just want to be passive. And they just want their bags to go up, which is just fine. There's that happens too. But educate yourself, right? Don't take my word for it. Don't take your favorite YouTube or Twitter personality. Don't take their word for it. Go learn it yourself. It just makes you better. Big shout out to Chris from Gelato. That guy has learned a tremendous amount. He has an insatiable thirst for knowledge, and he has come a very long way, a very short amount of time. Gelato and Pulse Chain, that guy's good. And there's a lot of others that I've worked with. Pulse Rising 369, that guy's been with me from the start. Insatiable thirst for knowledge, and he's crushing it. The more you know, the better. The more you know. All right, let's go. Where do you guys want me to post this? You want me to post this like, here's the playlist chart. Just go to liquidity providing. I'll post this in the chat, but then I'll also post it on Twitter right now. Let me say something nice about this guy. Boom. Yeah, this dude's a legend. So I don't know. I think I remember there being like 6 to 8 videos or something like that, but it's going to teach you. And really, once you understand that price is basically, if you put liquidity in above price, below price, price is actually just like a magic wand. So as price moves up, let's say we're talking about Morph and Dragon X. As price moves up, people who provided Morph above price, price moves up, it changes that morph into Dragon X. If price moves down, if there's Dragon X underneath price, it changes it to morphs. It's like a DCA strategy. Now, I might be talking absolute gibberish to you right now, but watch the video. Start learning, asking questions, educate yourself. You don't have to rely on, I mean, one of the easiest ways to build a following is find a super, super good community and just do shill posts every single day. That's one of the easiest ways. The better way, which I did, was like, there's a lot of stuff I didn't know in the past, and I just started teaching myself, and then I made videos to teach others. So teach people once you learn it. Utah Crypto, what is up, my man? Nice to have you. Dudas 2412, 2412. What is up? Been with us forever. Go Texan. Axiom, thank you for reposting the stream. Andrew Satcat, what is up? Utah Crypto, Morse, one of my top picks. Shout out to Utah Crypto. Added the Inferno contracts to Switch.win. If you guys aren't familiar, we've got an aggregator. It's currently live on Base and Ethereum. And we have had an absolute tremendous past 30 days. So I told you guys this last week. I created a private Dune Analytics board. We're able to kind of track what's going on. And we've had, on average, 89% volume growth, 89% user growth and 95% volume growth for the past 5 months. On average, every month for Switch.win. And that's huge. And that kind of goes back to, like, get close to the money. Get close to the money flow. Tap into that. Right? And you, like, the people who follow me right now, if Switch.win, if that product is as good or better than everything else out there, support your local business. You will give away millions or tens of millions of dollars a year to someone else with Uniswap who does not care about your success or your outcome. They're too big. They don't care. You will give away tens of millions of dollars of fees per year. Just the people that are listening right now, and eventually who will be listening. So if it's as good or better, if the experience is good, if the UI is clean and sharp and good, if you have limit orders, if you can go create some sort of widget that you can integrate directly on your website and direct people to buy with no risk of scams, because the contract addresses are pre-populated in the drop down as soon as they come to your widget. Why not? Don't give that away to these overlords who don't care. Now, am I not mistaken here? Management team for Uniswap. Get into this, and I've done streams on this before. Like, there's major people in Uniswap Labs that have, you know, a whole lot of experience with some of the big companies out there that we don't tend to like or agree with too much. Which makes sense. If you're CEO, you want to find, quote unquote, the best people that have the connections. But at the same time, it's like, what principles do you stand by? Don't give it away to those guys. It aggregates from them anyway. But if you're going to give fees away, give it away locally here. Support your local business. Tam Hex. Tam crushing it with the content. Another person who's been consistent. It was really nice to see a professional representative, a female professional representative on Pulse Chain. Cabana Crypto, win utility for the things Morph supports. Clarify your question for me. Facing reality, what is up? Cabana Crypto says Eric is back to trolling again. Yeah, different strokes, different marketing strokes for different folks. I've done it all, and I try to lean more towards the things that just line up with who I am internally. Right. It's like RH, super good at trolling. Donald Trump, super good at trolling. Just doesn't line up with me inside personally. But it's very effective. Pasang Dorji, thank you for reposting the stream. Utility does make sense. Triplet Dad knows all about that. Absolutely. Triplet Dad doing some big things, making some really big moves on the Pulse Chain side, and eventually probably many different places. A mover and shaker, and he understands. He understands the whole concept of get close to the money flow. You have a greater chance at luck when you're closer to the money flow. Pulse Ray Vision. Hey kids, what's up, dude? How's life, man? I was on that NFT marketplace and I saw your anti-gravity NFTs this morning. I thought they looked really cool because they were animated. And by the way, my kid has one of your anti-gravity posters in his bedroom on his door. It looks really cool. Every time I walk by, I'm like, that's a really cool looking poster. Vibra Finance in the house. What's up, my dude? Goose says, if you launch a project with the intention of making money, you might want to consider changing your mindset, focus on building value for community. Money will automatically come. Yeah. And like, one of the biggest things that's missing is human connection in all of this. Like in building trust. And it's more difficult to do when you're online. But you gotta actually you gotta care for people. Even if this all were to burn away, do you have a strong enough connection for the most part with your community to say, hey, dude, like, are you going to be checking up on them for the next 5 or 10 years on and off? Like, have you earned the right to do that through the whole process? Dude, I've made so many friends. I've met a lot of people in person. Thousands of people in person over the years. Some people say, oh, that's just it's an excuse, right? It's an excuse for your project not doing well. You're saying, oh, just focus on the human connection. I mean, there is truth to that. But there's got to be trust there. You got to go out of your way. You know, if you want to get some sort of yield from a bank, you got to deposit some money, right? You guys have heard that so many times in many different ways, shapes, or forms. But like, if you want to build a community, you got to deposit some care, and you got to deposit some emotion. You got to deposit, you got to genuinely earn people's trust, just like you would in real life. It's really no different. But for some reason in crypto, we don't think that way. But that's what lasts. Push comes to shove, you can't take your crypto when you're in the grave. When you stop chasing money, it starts running to you. Yes. Can't find you in YouTube. What in the heck is your channel called? R2R Network. Yeah, YouTube. Once I started talking about politics and shifted away from crypto, YouTube throttled me. It's wild. You have 9,000 followers and get 100 views. There's nothing I can do to change it. I remember the exact day that it started. So YouTube shadow bans the hell out of people. So R2R network. Nice to have you in here, SJ. SJ is dedicating a tremendous amount of her life to building community, helping people out, staying positive. Very admirable. There were some nice ARB opportunities for Morph with Titan X as well in the past weeks. Yeah. You can just go to deckscreener.com, put in Morph, and you guys just look at the prices between the pools. There's like 4 or 5 different pools set up. People have set up with it, right? But the prices are always a little bit off. I mean, I was calculating at one point, I think there's like a $70 difference between 2 pools, and it's just sitting there. So you can go ARB that. And then if it's multi-chain, those differences will be even bigger. But doing that will stabilize price over time. Yeah, they got me shadow banned here. It's tough. What's your view on Ouroboros? Are you holding any? No, not holding any Ouroboros. I really don't know enough about Ouroboros to be able to comment intelligently about it. I don't. But I know those guys are working real hard over there. Yeah, Chris is a superstar, man. That's a good dude. My developer chat is blowing up right now, so I've got to mute these knuckleheads because I cannot concentrate. Mute notifications for 4 hours. That's better. Brent, what's up, dude? Let's get together soon. Yeah. Brent, good dude out there, man. Hope the family's well. Goose says I save 90% on fees using Switch. Uniswap is a thief. The thing I like about Switch too, guys, it's like it doesn't fail often. That's what I really like about it. It's just smooth. Like one of my biggest frustrations is like if I go to Uniswap, if I go to some others, it's like if I do a switch, five times out of 10 there's a problem, and I got to go through and nonce everything out and reverse the transaction, and it's just like just want something that works. Like I can deal with like 100 times, maybe 2 times it fails, but I can't deal with out of 10 times 5 times fail. Not doing it. 50% of the time, not doing it. Diehard Hexagon, what is up? Mobius, the man, the myth, the Mobius. Tyndall, amen. Yeah, I really hope we see more people creating meetups and in-person events over the next couple of years. The real life in-person trust building is monumental. Yeah, really is. First time I went to a meetup after my channel started, gaining a lot of followers was, I think it was Las Vegas in 2020, 2021. And it's crazy because what was interesting was like, you've established these relationships online, and for the most part, like people are the exact same way in person for the most part, except for the fudders, the people who are like super aggressive online, they're super nice in person. So the people that say they want to punch your teeth out, and then they realize you're 6'3" and you weigh 265 pounds, they get nice again. I don't know why that is. Must be the red hair. Tyndall, Jesus is the only way. Love it. Facing reality. Nice. Limit orders too. A lot of limit orders going through. One of the issues that we've had with Switch is sometimes it does stall out. But a lot of times if the process stalls out, it can have something to do with the size of the order. The CalSwap solvers don't actually want to pick the order up because it's really difficult for them to make money. So you can increase slippage a little bit to kind of encourage them to do that, or you can increase the size of the order. Yeah, DJ Cryptomatic, I remember. Which that first pool party when I showed up in that white tuxedo, you were DJing that, right? I remember you crushing it. That had to have been interesting for you to come all the way to the States with your DJ gear. I was thinking about that. I'm like, oh Lord, I bet that was a hassle. Unless maybe you rented some when you got to Vegas. Plenty of places to do that. I don't know. Let's get into some stuff here. I can't believe I've been rambling for 46 minutes. This article says, while Ethereum is gaining momentum with huge investors injecting it with dollars and ambitious Ethereum treasury companies starting to pop up, the Ethereum exit queue began to grow quickly after July 16th. It doubled between July 23rd and 24th, exceeding 680,000 Ethereum by the evening. The sum is equivalent to $2.5 billion. What does it signal? People prefer to sell their ETH holdings rather than stake them. Does it mean the price will go down soon? So I pulled up the validator queue and I'll share it. Next time, Cryptomatic will go back to back. I know you hate me. I got virtual DJ, but I've got an FLX 10 now, and that's very nice. I like the built-in stem separation as hard buttons on the controller too. That's nice. Validator queue. So this is the validator queue for Ethereum, and you guys probably still can't see it. I got to add it. So you kind of want to take a look at this to see what's happening. So there's an excessive Ethereum exit queue right now, which basically means if the owners of the people who stake Ethereum, they want to use them for other things. For instance, if they want to sell them, and maybe a lot of these people actually are degens and they got to cover their positions if the market moves up or down. So if they want to sell them, they got to unstake them from the Ethereum network. To do so, they have to be able to, you got to wait in a queue, and this is called the exit queue. So the people who are waiting a lot in line, these queues basically are just ensuring that the network doesn't get super overwhelmed. It can kind of process these in a systematic way. And sometimes the time will vary, right? It can be like up to 12 days, 2 weeks. It could be less, it could be more, just depending on how many people want to get out. But that queue's been growing. But if you look at the chart, the other point that's not talked about here, and obviously we go back to June 13th of 2023, proof of stake went in. There's a big spike of people entering and becoming validators. And then it dropped off, right? The rate of increase dropped off. Had a spike back in April. Once price starts going up, people are going to get more interested. That's because they're going to get higher returns on their staked ETH. But there has been a really massive push to the upside. And I think that's because Ethereum price has been going up. People are trying to exit to get out. But also, there's been a really big push, a pretty sustained push since May of 2025. More validators coming online. It could be a variety of different reasons. Obviously, a lot of these centralized exchanges offer staking as a service, and they take a portion of your yield in exchange for kind of handling all the back end stuff. The queue is up to, about 12 days as of July 26, which is today. Active validators, 1.1 million active validators. So does it take 32 ETH, right? Per validator. So it's a news article. Some people are freaking out. What's going to happen? It's the end of the world. All the validators are getting out. I'm like, guys, when price it pushes up, and especially Ethereum is kind of pushed up pretty violently. So people want to get out. That's kind of the way that I read it. So Senator Loomis has been a major cryptocurrency advocate for a while. And let me take this, stop sharing here. Bitcoin Reserve advocate Senator Cynthia Loomis provided critical comments on Jerome Powell's role in Operation Choke Point 2.0. You guys all know, man, they are putting a tremendous amount of pressure on Jerome Powell right now. Tremendous. Yeah. And they want to put pressure on him to try to get him out because they want those interest rates to come down. And I think even today, who was it? Was it BlackRock CIO, or not CIO, but CFO or somebody big like that, is calling for interest rates to come down too. So everybody in the industry wants interest rates to come down, cheap money, more profits. Certainly good for crypto, make no mistake. But I'd say starting about 3 weeks ago, they started going hard on this guy, man, from all different sorts of angles. Trump's trashing in a lot of major financial players in the financial sector and real estate sector have been writing letters and just like really, really pressuring the guy. So she says, Cynthia Loomis says, I'm concerned about the way he handled Choke Point 2.0. The way that they went after banks that were solvent and drove them into insolvency. The way that the Fed has dealt with coal, energy, finance, oil, gas, crypto. These are all bigger concerns I have about Jay Powell than the manner in which the bank supervision has been conducted. If you guys remember, Choke Point, they were really trying to target cryptocurrency. One of the ways that you target crypto is you target the banks that are crypto friendly. The FDIC can come in if it's deemed that the bank is insolvent, and they can just wave a magic wand and take that bank over. The problem is it drives up liquidity. It drives up liquidity for cryptocurrency. And that was one of the methods that they were trying to kill cryptocurrency with. They're trying to dry out the liquidity. They're trying their best so they could control it and kind of force people into positions that were disadvantaged. So in a nutshell, that's kind of what we were looking at. And she's drumming this up. She's doing an investigation to kind of see what role he played in all of this. Meanwhile, it's very interesting. She says, Jay Powell's weasel words do not hide the fact that the Fed he is building, they're building a new Fed. It's a modern day palace. It's the Taj Mahal. I think over the 5-year period, the buildings have been built. I think they were up to, was it 3.5 billion or maybe $5 billion to rebuild the Federal Reserve, the actual physical location, which is wild. Taxpayer money. All right, let me see. I might be able to kind of share this with you guys. Share screen. Audio's on. Let's listen to this.
For perjury charges. Cynthia Loomis is the Republican senator from Wyoming and joins me now. Senator, going after Powell because you don't agree with his pace of rate cuts, charging him with perjury, a criminal offense, lying to Congress, Isn't that a bit strong just because you don't like his interest rate policy?
Well, I am concerned about the way he handled Choke Point 2.0. The way that they went after banks that were solvent and drove them into insolvency. The way that the Fed has dealt with using subjective determinations about what banks should be financing, oil, gas, coal, energy that certain aspects of our economy doesn't approve of. These are the bigger concerns I have about Jay Powell and the manner in which bank supervision has been conducted. In addition to that, we do know that there were a lot of weasel words used when Jay Powell testified in front of Congress about the 39% cost overruns, $700 million in cost overruns to remodel the building at the Federal Reserve, and the way in which terms were used like, oh, we have a green roof, not that they have a garden terrace. There were mistakes that Jay Powell made. Do they rise to the extent of perjury? Certainly not in the Senate, because it's very hard to prove perjury. In addition to that, when Jay Powell testified over here, he was not under oath. It's still, regardless of whether you're under oath or not, it is against the law to mislead Congress, tough to prove.
And it's very heavy pressure on the chairman of the Federal Reserve at this point.
Yeah. So they are just trying every single avenue imaginable and possible to put pressure on this guy to get out. The sooner he gets out, the sooner things really take off for cryptocurrency, in my estimation. This is something we've talked about a long time. It's like Bitcoin, 120,000. For it to go up to 300,000, that's a lot of money just to push it up a little bit, comparatively speaking, right? We have something like Ethereum, a whole lot. That same amount of money would make it go nuclear. So Ethereum, via Galaxy CEO Mike Novogratz, to outperform Bitcoin. Yes, of course it's going to outperform Bitcoin. And people are getting Bitcoin exhaustion. You're just shoving Bitcoin down your throat every single day, man. It's just exit liquidity. All these rich people just want more and more. Make me richer, make me richer. All you plebs out there. Buy Bitcoin. It's decentralized. It's real money. Like, would Satoshi agree with that? Would he agree with that? You read his white paper, you tell me. Have you guys ever read his white paper? Let's read his white paper. Let's do it. I'll share this. So for many of you who haven't read this, you can go to bitcoin.org or just search Satoshi white paper. A purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. Digital signatures provide part of the solution, but the main benefits are lost if a trusted third party is still required to prevent double spending. We propose a solution to the double spending problem using a peer-to-peer network. One network, peer-to-peer. The network timestamps transactions by hashing them into an ongoing chain of hash-based proof of work, forming a record that cannot be changed without redoing proof of work. So first and foremost, let's take the Lightning Network, for example. People love the Lightning Network. Why? It's because it provides a solution for instantaneous cash payments. But the problem is, Lightning Network is via a trusted third party, quote unquote trusted third party. It's centralized. Most people don't know that about the Lightning Network. Now, the benefit to people who have Bitcoin is, hey, it's reducing the economic friction for regular people based compared to the actual Bitcoin network, right? Because you can move money quicker, you can move money faster. Is that the vision? It's not the vision. The vision doesn't matter, right? And I'm not going to sit here and say that things don't change over time. And you can take a technology and it can be completely raped and pillaged and bastardized over time to make it what you want. Really good example of that is also the Bible. You know, don't read the words of the Bible. It's open for interpretation. It's a living, breathing document. It's not static, right? But I digress. The longest chain not only serves as proof of the sequence of events witnessed, but proof that it came from the largest pool of CPU power. All right, so consensus network. Commerce on the internet has come to rely almost exclusively on financial institutions serving as trusted third parties to process electronic payments. Ooh. While the system works well enough for most transactions, it still suffers from the inherent weaknesses of the trust-based model. Completely non-reversible transactions are not really possible since financial institutions cannot avoid mediating disputes. The cost of mediation increases transaction costs, limiting the minimal practical transaction size and cutting off the possibility for small casual transactions. And there's a broader cost in the loss of the ability to make non-reversible payments for non-reversible services. Merchants must be wary of their customers hassling them for more information than they would otherwise need, right? You use Apple Pay right now on Coinbase. In order to increase your limit on Apple Pay, they require you to upload your bank statements. They require you to show proof of income, which is AML KYC stuff, but that's what he's talking about here. You know? And we've just shifted completely back to that. So these are kind of all the points that I'm trying to make here. What's needed is an electronic payment system based on cryptographic proof instead of trust, allowing two willing parties to transact directly with each other without the need for trusted third parties. Well, Brandon, they can do that now. You can still take somebody's Bitcoin wallet, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I get it, but you're not taking responsibility for your funds. You're outsourcing that to big institutions, and they make money off of you. Centralized exchanges. And don't get me wrong, there's certainly need for centralized exchange, especially for on-ramping and off-ramping. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just kind of pointing out what his original vision was. It goes through all of this stuff here. It goes through the actual technology, how it works. If you guys don't know how proof of work operates, I mean, this is just such a great way for people to start. And you're not going to understand a lot of concepts here, but guess what? It's not an excuse anymore because you can get ChatGPT for free. You can run it through, you can ask questions, you can start to learn. And things that you don't have clarity on, you search for those. You get a nice little notebook, or you type it out on your iPad or your Surface Pro and just start taking notes and learning. Wait, am I tripping right now? Let me stop sharing this. Is this crazy? Yeah, never mind. All right. So there we go. Ethereum price, Novogratz says it's going to push up. I think it's definitely going to push up. Ethereum is superior tech to Bitcoin in every single way. Bitcoin was first gen blockchain. Ethereum, Cardano, one or two others, second gen, and it gives you the ability to program. So it's really like an Amazon. Ethereum's like Amazon, right? Ethereum gives people the ability to build on top of it, build businesses on top of it. I think its value is going to be much better. They've got to solve some problems, but security-wise, it's better. Programmability doesn't really exist on Bitcoin in any sort of meaningful way that can really support business in a big way. It's just that people are so sucked into this narrative now. So sucked into the narrative. Bitcoin is going to make you a millionaire. I do not think that Bitcoin is going to make regular people millionaires. I think that there's a whole lot of other cool things to do that. I happen to think that if you work real hard, Ethereum could do that for you in the long run at this point. But I think that Bitcoin is going to be an avenue for higher net worth people at this point that are happy with the 1x or 2x because they put $10 million in, they get out $20 million. Okay, I'm happy with that. What if you put $1,000 in? Are you going to be happy with $2,000? Is that life-changing gains? Probably not. I happen to think that Pulse Chain is extremely strong. I happen to think that I happen to think that Titan X has the ability to do it too. It's got to go through a whole lot of roadblocks here. It's got to weather a lot of storms, but it just boils down to community too. A little bit biased. I like Morph too, for different reasons. During a July 24th interview with CNBC, Galaxy Digital CEO Mike Novogratz claimed that Ether is going to outperform Bitcoin in the next 3 to 6 months, and that he feels ETH will knock on the $4,000 ceiling a few times. Shortly after the interview release, Galaxy transferred approximately 10,000 Bitcoin to Binance and several other cryptocurrency exchanges. Is Galaxy Digital turning away from Bitcoin to embrace the Ethereum? That's going to happen. Guys, this is going to be a trend. You're going to see this. You've already started seeing this. People were fudding Ethereum incessantly, and I told you, I said, based on every single cycle in cryptocurrency, if there's a blue chip that's underperforming and people are fudding it, the other side of that coin is the smart money and the investors are loading up on it. And once you start hearing good things about it in the media, now it's time to run. And now we're seeing that shift. We're seeing that phase. So, you want me to put the black MAGA hat on? All right, I'll put it on. The hat is on, as per your request. In other news, BlackRock's iShares Ethereum Trust has reached $10 billion in assets under management just 1 year after its launch, which is the second or third best launch in history. It makes it the fastest non-Bitcoin ETF to reach that threshold, and the third fastest overall in ETF history, which is probably Bitcoin Gold and Ethereum now. Everybody's just fading it. Fade, fade, fade. Here's a nice little chart, and I'll show you guys. Let me share this. I see some of you knuckleheads out there talking about, Brandon, you sold out to Ethereum. Guys, you're talking about Ethereum too much. You don't care about Pulse Chain. Like, guys, you're I'm sorry, but that's a very narrow representation of what I'm trying to talk about here. You do realize that Ethereum, Pulse Chain is leveraged on Ethereum. You do realize that in a big way. And I'm still sticking to my theory, and I said this last year, that in 7 to 8 years, there's probably sooner to a lesser extent, there's going to be Pulse Chain ETFs. But you've got, yeah. Where's my thing? It's gone nuts, man. 251 days, top 3 of all time. And this looks like a pretty parabolic chart to me. What do you think is going to happen? Let's pull up how much they bought yesterday or this past week. We'll just pull it up. Let's change it to the US dollar value. And I'll shift this over so you guys can see this too. If you're not bullish on Ethereum, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. We'll go. Let's just share some data. Let's look. Can you guys see that? Yeah. We'll shift over to the US dollar value instead of ETH. All the primary ETFs, total spot ETF net inflows on the 25th, which was yesterday, 452 million. Day before, $231 million. Day before, $332 million. Day before, $533 million. 296, 402 million, 602 million, 726 million. So from 7-11, so from 1 year ago today, so far, we're at $5.3 billion that's being pushed in. And I keep making this point. People are like, oh, well, Brandon, it was like double or triple that with Bitcoin. I'm like, yeah, but Bitcoin was always, they're double or triple the market cap of ETH. So it's not going to take as much money to push ETH up as it did Bitcoin. So that argument just isn't valid. I see a lot of people saying that online. I'm like, just use your brain. Massive amounts of money that's being poured in. It's been happening a long time. So this is probably good time to show the ETH chart, right? I'll show you guys something. And some of you guys have already seen this because you're in my little group. Not paid group. All right. This is actually nuts. All right. I'll add this up. Yeah, so you guys see this. All right. I'm going to try to make this as simple as possible. And I'm going to take away everything except red and white. And I'll explain this, guys. Just bear with me a second. So you have the 200-day moving average over top of the 50-day. The 200-day is the red. The 50-day is the white. All right. And this is on the daily time frame here. And you know what we'll do? I'm going to go back in time because this is probably going to be a better representation of what I'm trying to illustrate. A lot of times, say like 75% of the time, when you have price underneath the white 50-day moving average, 200-day moving average, you have price underneath. But the important thing here is the 200 is above price and the white. When price starts to go in between the white 50 moving average and the red 200, that's when alarm bells start going off in your head. You say, okay, what this is actually doing is it kind of forms this apex structure. This apex is, you got the red and you got the white, and they're coming together very quickly. when price action gets in between there, it kind of serves like a pressure cooker. And 75% of the time, if price breaks out of this, comes back and doesn't fall back through these two, you're off to the races. And things get wild. It just goes up. Goes up, 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 up. Okay, until it corrects. So you have really massive explosions to the upside. So what have we seen here? That massive move to the upside back in 21, these moving averages still haven't actually reset. They almost reset. The red almost kind of went back on top of the white. But what happened was we fell out, but we pushed back through. The idea here is this trend line that's been set all the way back since December of 21, it's been broken. And what's interesting is when price popped up above this, after pushing through these moving averages, you have a candle down that came and touched that wick. Like, look how long that candle is. Think about these wicks as buying pressure. So if you have a wick that's much longer underneath this candle, it's longer on the bottom than is the top. I mean, there's buying pressure there. Price is being pushed up. It came down and touched this like perfectly. So what we want to do, we want to look for that. We want to see price go up. We want to see it come down. We want it to test that trend line. If it doesn't fall through, it's probably going to push up bigger and stronger. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Go to Bitcoin. Let's check and see when the last time we had, and I'm going to we'll go to 3-day here. Look at this. Now this is coming down to correction. Price came through these moving averages. And what's our first thing? We want to look for some sort of floor. And some people think floors are lines. They can be lines, but I like to kind of talk about floors in terms of boxes here. So these are like ranges where liquidity is parked. Price came down, touched again. It started flattening out after it had been dropping precipitously for a while. So what do we look for? We look for price underneath. That's setup one. Price underneath these moving averages. We look for the red to come on top of the white underneath. Okay, so we have that set up. Price came into this moving average, didn't get rejected. So now it's in this channel. It's in the apex channel here. So what are we looking at? We're looking for price to squeeze in here. It's creating apex, creating a point, these two moving averages. Price gets in here. Moving averages are compressing. It's compressing price. It's creating pressure. And what did we see? This was back in September of 23. This is for Bitcoin, by the way, guys. Compression, 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 all the way here. Popped. And there's not much indication that it's going to slow down right now. There's a lot we don't know, but when these moving averages pop and then they separate like this, these are very, very strong support bands. In fact, after it popped and corrected back down, you saw that it corrected right back down onto the 50-day moving average. And you'll see that over and over again during a bull market. Pulse chain. Look at this. It's almost the perfect setup. We just went over this with Ethereum. So if you're a pulse chain person, which I am a big time pulse chain person as well, price is coming down, fell through. This is on the daily. We had a bottom here, but here's our setup. It was dropping. We found a bottom. It's kind of leveling out now. Price, we've got the red 200 moving average above the white 200 moving average. Prices come back in. 75% of the time, it will, or 25% of the time, it'll get rejected if it touches that moving average. Really good trade setups, by the way, is if price is pushing up and it touches this white 50. A lot of times a good trade setup is you go long back in here after it confirms. And then if it touches the red 200, you can sell. And that, that would have been a quick 20% of your money there. You could do this on any moving average, but it's especially useful on longer term. Price got rejected, came back down, but look what we're seeing. These two moving averages are starting to flatten out. The red is on top of the white. Price is inside right now. It got rejected, yesterday or today. But as these flatten out, as these moving averages combine together, it creates pressure, massive pressure. And then you're going to see a pop. 75% of the time you will. So maybe these two moving averages converge out here in August. Pulse chain comes through, pop. Violent move to the upside. These are 40, 50% moves. Be a 44% move. I mean, when you stranglehold any sort of yield that's on the chain and you get all these people who are capitulating, everybody's like, it's going to sell off forever. Not necessarily. You got to understand one thing, which is sellers run out of things to sell eventually. So I've been charting this for a while. I've been watching this. This was probably a pretty good place to go long. This is probably a pretty good indication of a floor. If it does fall out of this, and it absolutely can, you'll probably see a lot of interaction here. About 4 zeros and a 2-3. It could be a good place to go long. Certainly, if it falls underneath, you're going to want to stack up. So I think overall, man, let's check Titan X. You guys want to see Titan X? Look at this. Look at the Titan X setup, guys. All these charts are just looking beautiful right now. Interest rates coming, massive amounts of buys for Ethereum every single day. Hundreds of millions of dollars, $200, $300, $400, $500, $600 million. All these things that are paired with ETH. This Titan X on the daily is falling precipitously. It started to flatten out. We've got the red over top of the white. Price pushed through, got rejected back down, but look what's happening. These moving averages are flattening out. And Titan X price is inside these moving averages. Compresses down to an apex, pressure, pop, 40% or more. So you can take this, you can go to any chart throughout history, and you can see time and time again where this is validated. I've been working on an indicator to be able to kind of help out with this. It's doing pretty well. We got to tweak it a little bit more. I'll post it on TradingView. So what do you guys think? The Verse, what's up? Uniswap is for charlatans. Start switching. Altcoin Chef, what is up, Altcoin Chef? Like the picture there. Tam, love learning from you, Brandon. Thank you, Tam. Luna Classic forming a huge cup and handle on the 5-minute chart. You're probably not even wrong. Community takeover, Luna Classic. Let's go all in. My head's going numb. I got a pumpkin on a toothpick here. Not even close. Europe sucks. NJ Dub, can we please pump more than 3 to 4x before we predict ETFs? Maybe not. Time. Let time do its thing. It'll turn up. Sellers fade. Crypto. Conspiracy Crypto. What's up, dude? Fallen Comrade. Yes. Thanks, Tam. Guys, we've gone an hour and 24 minutes. I've got things to do tonight that don't involve you. But it's been grand. Prioritize your mental health. Shout out to the Morph team. Shout out to everybody who's just doing work to try to make your life better, make everybody else's life better. Shout out, guys. Got a lot of respect for a lot of you guys. Just very consistent. Consistency is key. Build community. Care about people if you can. If you're a psychopath, sociopath, then I don't know what you can do. Just go look at yourself in the mirror. You might not like yourself, though. I don't know. Or you probably will. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all over the world, my name is Brandon, an artist formerly known as Rags to Riches. Do not like, comment, or subscribe. Check out switch.win. If you have any projects you want built, buildthetech.com. Doing great. Ciao.